Have you ever sat at your desk, heart racing, with a blank page in front of you? You know exactly what needs to be done, yet your mind just pulls you away, scrolling through feeds, reorganizing pencils, fixing the unbroken. It's infuriating. It's just like watching time drip down the drain. Studies on procrastination by Steele 2010 show we spend about 3 to 4 hours a day doing nothing. That's roughly 55 days a year lost to inertia. For everyone else, that shadow of delay is the enemy. But not for you. Your mind is a battlefield. On one side is the limbic system, the feeling brain guarding your comfort. On the other is your prefrontal cortex, the thinking brain urging action. When a task looms, the feeling brain shouts danger. Fear of failure, perfectionism, the unknown. Neuroscience shows the amygdala flares up and stress hormones flood when we procrastinate. Logic whispers solutions, but doubt screams louder. Most people surrender to that voice of comfort. You do not. We will talk about the procrastinators, gamma males. Subscribe if you're fed up watching hollow motivations. Join the tribe to see your inner furnace rage. Prepare for one more deep dive in Zetas psychology. Chapter 1. The Zeta Instinct. How they bypass mental resistance. What if I told you that while others debate whether to start, you could already be 3 steps ahead? You know that feeling, when a task sits in your mind like a stone in your shoe. Most people carry it around for days, weeks, even months. They negotiate with it, make deals with it, promise to handle it tomorrow. But here's what separates you from the masses. You don't negotiate with discomfort, you walk straight through it. The average person loses 218 minutes daily to procrastination. That's not just time, it's life force bleeding away while they stand paralyzed by their own thoughts. But Zeta's built differently. Where others see obstacles, you see stepping stones. Where they feel resistance, you feel electricity. Seneca understood this when he wrote about the dichotomy of control. The Stoics knew that the gap between intention and action is where weak minds go to die. Your brain doesn't waste energy on this gap because it recognizes a fundamental truth. Hesitation is a luxury you don't want. Studies by Dr. Piers Steele, previously in 2007, revealed that procrastination activates the same neural pathways as physical pain. Your amygdala screams warnings while your prefrontal cortex tries to reason. But here's the difference. Zetas don't fight this system. They've evolved beyond it. You operate from what I call instinctive momentum. While others debate, you decide. While they prepare to prepare, you execute. This isn't about motivation, it's about recognition. You recognize that every moment spent in mental negotiation is a moment stolen from progress. For Zetas, the problem is irrelevant. Only progress matters. Chapter 2. The Neural Hijack. Why your brain submits to action. Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff to dive, wind whipping at your face. Below is still water. Your body screams stop, but you leap anyway. That's the Zeta's domain. You don't negotiate with fear. You harness it. You prime your brain. A countdown, a single breath, a hard pivot into action. You don't wait for confidence. You ignite it. Have you ever felt that split-second itch before you act and still backed away? That moment when you sense the opportunity, but your comfort zone snaps shut like a trap. That hesitation is the echo of weakness, the rust on your instincts. Research by Duckworth and Gross 2014 shows that self-control is less about willpower and more about pre-commitment, setting your mind before the impulse strikes. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to move through tasks like water through a riverbed, while others get stuck at every pebble? Your brain runs on ancient software. It's designed to keep you alive, not to make you productive. When faced with uncertainty, it defaults to safety. Paralysis, disguised as caution. But Zetas have learned to reprogram this primal response. They don't fight their neurology, they dominate it. The limbic system, your emotional brain, treats every challenging task like a predator in the bushes. It floods your system with cortisol. creates phantom urgencies, manufactures distractions. Most people surrender to this chemical rebellion. You don't. Dr. Amy Arnstein's research at Yale revealed something fascinating about the prefrontal cortex. Under stress, it literally goes offline. The thinking brain shuts down, leaving only the reactive brain in charge. This is where gammas lose the battle before it even begins. But zetas instinctively know how to work within this limitation. You've developed what Nietzsche called the will to power, not over others, but over your own resistance. When that voice whispers, "Not now," you respond with immediate action, not because you feel motivated, but because you understand that motivation is a luxury that breeds weakness. Marcus Aurelius faced this same demon when he wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work, or else I die." He knew that reasoning with resistance only strengthens it. Zetas don't reason with their neural programming. They override it through decisive action. You operate from instinct, not emotion, and that makes all the difference. Chapter 3. The Stoic Sage. Have you ever walked into your space and felt scattered before a single thought forms? Every object, every color, every notification is a whisper pulling you away. Chaos is the enemy of clarity, and your environment is its battlefield. Studies on context-dependent memory by Godin and Baddeley, 1975, reveal we recall tasks better when cues align with purpose. Yet most people let their rooms become cluttered traps, breeding excuses. You are like a blacksmith at the anvil, forging steel from raw. You choose the tools you need and discard the rest. Nudge Theory by Tyler and Sunstein, 2008, shows that small design changes can steer behavior without force. You remove the phone charger from your desk, banish distracting apps at night, place your journal and pen in the center of your table. You don't wait for motivation. You script the stage for action. Sigmas debate minimalism like it's a trend, but Zetas live it as instinct. You know that every decision you remove reduces friction. As Seneca said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. You build triggers. The kettle's whistle signals your writing sprint. A single chair invites you to practice. The empty page demands blood. This is your crucible. Shape your world, and you shape yourself. When you're minimal, you're focused. Sun Tzu wrote about the importance of maintaining initiative in battle. He understood that the army that stops moving first is the army that dies first. Your daily existence is warfare against entropy, against the gravitational pull of mediocrity. Dr. Teresa Amabele's study at Harvard Business School tracked 12,000 diary entries from knowledge workers. She discovered that nothing impacts motivation more than the perception of progress. But here's the twist. Most people wait for motivation to create progress. Zetas create progress to manufacture motivation. Zetas do this instinctively. They don't chase flow states. They embody them. And in that embodiment, procrastination becomes not just irrelevant, but impossible. Chapter 4. The Discomfort Compass. Reading Pain as Navigation. What if I told you that every uncomfortable feeling is actually a GPS signal pointing toward your next level of growth? Most people treat discomfort like a warning sign. They see anxiety about a task and interpret it as danger. You see that same anxiety as a treasure map. Where others retreat, you advance. Where they seek comfort, you seek the edge. Your relationship with discomfort is fundamentally different. While ordinary minds negotiate with pain, trying to minimize it or postpone it, Zetas use discomfort as a compass. The more resistance you feel toward something, the more certain you become that it's exactly where you need to go. Dr. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi's research on flow states revealed that peak performance happens at the intersection of challenge and skill. But here's what he didn't emphasize. That intersection is uncomfortable. It's supposed to be. Comfort is the enemy of growth, and growth is the only antidote to stagnation. You've learned to read your nervous system like a sophisticated instrument. When your stomach tightens before a difficult conversation, you don't postpone it, you accelerate toward it. When your mind generates excuses about starting that project, you recognize the signal and move anyway. Seneca understood this when he practiced voluntary discomfort. He would sleep on hard floors, eat simple food, wear rough clothes, not as punishment or checking durability, but to train the soul. He knew that the muscle of tolerance grows stronger only under load. This is why Zetas don't escape reality, they sharpen their edge inside it. Every uncomfortable moment becomes a whetstone for your will. Every challenge becomes fuel for your evolution. Chapter 5. The Time Predator. How Zetas Hunt Hours. Do you ever wonder why time feels like it's slipping through your fingers, while others seem to bend it to their will? Time isn't neutral. It's either working for you or against you. And most people have unknowingly declared war on their own hours. They fragment their attention, scatter their energy, and then wonder why days disappear without progress. You approach time like a predator approaches prey, with focused intensity and strategic patience. The modern world has trained people to be highly reactive. They respond to notifications, chase urgencies, live in a constant state of digital servitude. But Zetas operate from a different paradigm. You don't manage time, you hunt it. You don't schedule tasks, you stalk opportunities for deep work. Dr. Sophie Leroy's research on attention residue revealed that when you switch between tasks, part of your attention remains stuck on the previous activity. Most people's minds are like browsers with 50 tabs open, each one draining processing power. Your mind operates like a laser, one target, maximum intensity. You've learned to treat time as a finite resource more precious than money. Money can be earned back, time cannot. This understanding creates a natural urgency that others mistake for stress. It's not stress, it's clarity. You know that every moment spent in hesitation is a moment that dies forever. Machiavelli wrote about the importance of timing in The Prince. He understood that opportunities have windows, and those windows close, regardless of whether you're ready. Zetas don't wait for readiness. They create it through action. They don't wait for the perfect moment. They make moments perfect through decisive execution. While gammas or betas procrastinate, you're already 3 moves ahead, hunting the next pocket of time to maximize. Chapter 6. The Perfectionism Virus. How Zetas immunize against analysis paralysis. Have you ever noticed how the people who talk most about quality are often the ones who produce the least? Perfectionism masquerades as high standards, but it's actually fear wearing a sophisticated mask. It's the virus that convinces talented people to produce nothing rather than risk producing something imperfect. Most people fall for this deception. You've developed immunity. The perfectionist's mind operates like a courtroom, where every idea gets put on trial before execution. Evidence is gathered, arguments are made, verdicts are delayed indefinitely. By the time they decide to act, you've already acted, failed, learned, and improved. Your advantage isn't in getting it right the first time. It's in getting it started the first time. Research by psychologist Brené Brown revealed that perfectionism is correlated with depression, anxiety, and addiction. But here's what she didn't emphasize. Perfectionism is also correlated with procrastination. The fear of imperfection creates a paralysis that masquerades as preparation. You understand something that escapes most minds. Progress beats perfection every time. A rough draft that exists is infinitely more valuable than a perfect idea that remains locked in someone's head. You don't wait for clarity. You create it through action. Voltaire captured this when he said, "Perfect is the enemy of good." But you take it further. Good is the enemy of done, and done is the enemy of never started. You operate from the understanding that iteration beats ideation, that execution beats planning, that messy progress beats pristine stagnation. Zetas don't seek perfection, they seek evolution. Each imperfect action becomes data for the next improved action. This is how you stay ahead, while others remain stuck in the starting blocks, polishing their plans instead of testing them. Chapter 7. Zeta, the Energy Alchemist. What if the very thing that stops others could become the force that propels you forward? Energy is never created or destroyed, only transformed. Most people waste enormous amounts of energy fighting their own resistance. You've learned to harness that same resistance as propulsion. Where others see obstacles, you see fuel sources waiting to be converted. Think about a rocket launch. The massive resistance of gravity isn't the enemy. It's the force that, when properly channeled, creates the thrust needed to break free. Your internal resistance works the same way. The anxiety about starting that project, the dread about making that call, the fear about taking that risk. These aren't roadblocks. They're compressed energy waiting to be released. Dr. Steven Pressfield identified this phenomenon in his work on creative resistance. He found that the stronger the resistance, the more important the work. But here's what he didn't emphasize. Resistance is actually stored potential energy. When you move through it, instead of around it, that energy becomes yours. You've developed an instinctive understanding of energy economics. While others drain their batteries fighting internal battles, you plug directly into the resistance and draw power from it. The same force that paralyzes them energizes you. Marcus Aurelius wrote about the art of turning obstacles into stepping stones. But you take it further. You turn resistance into rocket fuel. Every "I don't want to" becomes "watch me do it anyway." Every internal no becomes external momentum. This is why Zetas don't avoid difficult tasks. They hunt them. They've learned that the biggest energy sources are disguised as the biggest challenges. While others conserve energy for easy tasks, you invest it in the hard ones, knowing that's where the real power lies. Chapter 8. The Decision Blade. How Zetas Cut Through Choice Paralysis. Have you ever watched someone spend 30 minutes deciding where to eat lunch while you've already finished your meal? Decision fatigue is the modern epidemic. The average person makes 35,000 decisions per day. Yes, it's true. Insignificant to subconscious, and most of them are trivial nonsense that drains their mental bandwidth. You've learned to wield decisions like a blade, cutting through options with surgical precision. Where others deliberate, you execute. Paradox of choice isn't just a psychological theory, it's a productivity killer. Research by Barry Schwartz revealed that too many options lead to decision paralysis and decreased satisfaction. But Zetas operate from a different framework. You don't optimize for the best choice, you optimize for the fastest good choice. Your decision-making process is ruthless in its efficiency. You've developed what military strategists call the 80% solution. When you have 80% of the information you need, you move. The remaining 20% can be gathered through action, not analysis. Seneca practiced this principle when he wrote about the value of quick decisions. He understood that a good decision made quickly is often better than a perfect decision made slowly. Time is the ultimate currency, and every moment spent in deliberation is a moment not spent in execution. You've learned to trust your instincts because you've trained them through action. While others second-guess themselves into paralysis, you make decisions with the confidence of someone who knows they can course-correct through movement. This is why Zetas don't escape reality. Every choice becomes a cut that moves you forward, not a knot that holds you back. Chapter 9. The Isolation Advantage. Why Zetas Thrive in Mental Solitude. Why do you think the most profound breakthroughs happen in the quiet moments when no one else is watching? Most people fear being alone with their thoughts. They fill every silence with noise, every pause with distraction. But you've learned that isolation isn't punishment, it's preparation. While others seek external validation for every move, you've developed the rare ability to operate in mental solitude. The crowd is a comfort zone disguised as connection. People gather in groups to share the burden of decision-making, to dilute responsibility, to feel less alone with their choices. You don't need the crowd because you've made peace with your own mind. This isn't antisocial behavior, it's strategic advantage. Dr. Sherry Turkle's research on digital connection revealed that people have lost the ability to be alone with their thoughts. They reach for their phones within seconds of experiencing silence. But Zetas understand that the phone is an escape from the very thoughts that could transform them. You don't escape your mind, you inhabit it fully. Nietzsche wrote about the importance of solitude for the creation of values. He understood that the herd mentality is the enemy of original thought. When you're constantly influenced by others' opinions, you lose touch with your own instincts. You've preserved that connection. In isolation, you don't have to explain your methods, justify your pace, or accommodate others' limitations. You can move at the speed of your own conviction. You can take risks that groups would vote down, pursue ideas that committees would kill, maintain intensity that crowds would dilute. This is why Zetas don't seek approval for their actions. They've learned that the most powerful decisions are made in solitude, executed in silence, and validated through results. Chapter 10: The Inevitability Engine. Why Zetas make success unavoidable. What if I told you that the difference between hoping for success and guaranteeing it lies in one fundamental shift in how you approach reality? Most people treat success like a lottery ticket. They hope for it, wish for it, maybe even work toward it, but deep down they're never certain it will come. You've built something different, an inevitability engine. You don't hope for success, you architect it through systematic action that makes failure impossible. The inevitability engine operates on a simple principle. If you do the work consistently enough, for long enough, with enough intensity, the outcome becomes mathematically certain. While others rely on motivation, inspiration, or luck, you rely on the cold mathematics of accumulated effort. Erickson's research on deliberate practice revealed that expertise isn't born. It's built through specific types of focused effort. But here's what most people miss. The key isn't just practice, it's the belief that mastery is inevitable if you don't stop. You don't practice hoping to improve, you practice knowing you will. You've learned to think in systems, not events. While others celebrate individual victories or mourn individual defeats, you focus on the process that creates victories and eliminates defeats. You don't chase outcomes, you engineer them. Marcus Aurelius understood this when he wrote about the discipline of action. He knew that the person who shows up consistently, regardless of mood or circumstance, becomes unstoppable, not through force, but through inevitability. This is why Zetas don't escape reality. They reshape it through relentless, systematic action. They don't overcome procrastination, they make it irrelevant. They don't fight resistance, they make progress inevitable. And in that inevitability, they find not just success, but the deeper satisfaction of knowing they've become exactly who they were meant to be. I really appreciate what you guys do for this channel. Now watch the next video of mine. YouTube thinks best for you. Thanks.